Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Room for Seconds. I am so excited to show you our brand new food hall that has just opened in downtown Chicago, our first Craveworthy kitchen. This is one of 3 locations opening across the Chicagoland area this year, and the coolest part about it is you get to experience some of our newest brands. All of these brands are going to be available across the country in our dark kitchens and virtual brands in our brick and mortar locations by the end of 2024. This has been a project my team has been working on night and day to get open. And more importantly, and the bigger part, sitting next to me is one of my dearest friends in the restaurant industry and a legend, and somebody that I truly hold in the highest regards, Geoff Alexander, CEO of wowbao. We're going to ask him today some probing questions on some things that he's not going to like. We're going to get some nuggets about things that his people do not want me to ask about, as he warned me about not asking about all kinds of questions. But more importantly, we're going to get to hear someone about what makes hospitality so special and why he's so passionate about this industry. Geoff, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, and I'm a little scared now that, are you going to, make me bend over and use the whole fist stock with the probing questions?
No, not
Was
today.
that whole opening done on a teleprompter? Because that was, one take right there. That was great.
Well, thank you. No, I just like to talk.
Do a good job of that.
And I'm passionate about what I do, so that's easy.
I feel the passion.
So, obviously, you've been in the industry a long, long time, but more importantly,
You just called me old.
Oh, you're a little older than I am.
You called me old again. All right, go ahead. First question. I don't have much time left, I guess.
But you've got to learn from some of the best in the industry, and you grew up and learned from Let Us Entertain You, a restaurant concept that is known in Chicago as being the best, and their standards of hospitality are so important. What did you take and how did you learn to be the hospital person that you are nonstop, and not only just in the restaurant business, when you take care of people, when you introduce them, when you mentor them, and when you just take everyone to dinner and you want everyone to grow? I mean, you truly do have a level of hospitality in all aspects of your life.
That's like a mouthful of question, and
because I don't want to talk anymore.
You said Let Us Entertain You, like one of the best concepts in Chicago. I'm going to just correct you and say one of the best companies in the world. But
True.
So you ask about hospitality, and I think really what it comes down to is those of us who are in this business, right, yourself included, we do this, and it's not work for us. Every day that you're in the hospitality business, it's about trying to please other people and trying to make other people feel good. And I take that very seriously, because if that's not what your mission is, you shouldn't be doing this business. So when we go out to dinners, when I meet people, it's all about how to make them feel better. Rich told a story. Rich Melman, the founder of Lettuce, told a story once about how, or actually I take that back. I've heard this story from other people about Rich Melman, about how they were in college or they were just starting out and they somehow got to Rich, whether it was writing a letter to him or making a phone call, and how he always gave 5, 10, 15 minutes to that person on the phone to try to educate, inspire, motivate, or help their growth. And that I've always taken to heart when someone reaches out to you for mentorship, when someone reaches out to you to learn more, when someone reaches out to you and asks for your time. The most valuable thing that you have is your time. And what you have going on in your life, I don't even know how you have time to sit here and talk to me, but giving me that time is more meaningful than anything. And that's sort of what I try to do every day, is I try to make time, whether it's for my team, for my family, which I shouldn't, I'm really going to get in trouble for saying I'm trying to make time for my family, but we're all busy. And that's what hospitality is about. It's about giving a part of yourself to someone else to make their day better.
So I've been very, very lucky, because when I started this idea, and
let's talk about you.
But when I started to learn and told people what I was going to try to do, you took me under your arm and started making all the introductions and all that. And you joke with me that I don't need you anymore because I'm now off on my own and bigger. But without what you have done and without what you allowed me to be a part of, I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten so fast. So, I mean, you truly do take that level of mentorship and hospitality to a new level.
I mean, that's very kind of you to say, but I don't look at it that way. I value the friendship, and whether you learned from me or I introduced you to people or I helped bring you out of your shell and whatever terminology you're using, I'm not trying to say that I did those things. the give back that I get from the collaboration, from bouncing ideas, what you've introduced me to, that's what it's about. It's about sharing. And that's what makes this business, the people that you meet, the opportunities that you get, it makes it so valuable because it's not take, right? It's not transactional. This industry and the friendships that you make and the conversations you have is about sharing. And it's more give than anything else. And that's why I think it's just been a great ride we've known each other for almost 2 years. It hasn't even been 2 years yet, I think, right? 2 years.
Yeah.
This coming summer. And if you look at what we've done together, where we've gone, who we've talked to, and the numerous meals we've shared, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's been incredible. So when you started at Lettuce, what was the one principle that they taught you to teach hospitality day one?
When I started with Lettuce 31 years ago next week.
See, now you're aging yourself again.
Yes, you're asking me.
I did not do that this time.
I was 4 years old. You're asking what the one lesson about hospitality. Lettuce's number one philosophy that Rich drills in every person every day is to not be the biggest. It's about being the best. And that's what Lettuce has always tried to be. It hasn't tried to be the biggest restaurant group or have the biggest this or that. It's about being the best. And to be the best doesn't necessarily mean to make the most money. It's to create reputation, to create opportunity. And I think if you look at that sentence, to be the best, not the biggest, and you look at it from that angle, that is, I think, what has been about hospitality for me. It's always about doing for others and giving them the best experience. I remember in my early years at Shaw's Crab House, it was, I was a nighttime manager, and in the Oyster Bar, it was some mammoth of a person, one of the biggest guys I'd ever seen, both height and, wingspan and size, got pretty out of control. And my general manager was there, the partner was there, and the head of operations was there, and they all looked at me to go handle it because it was my shift. And I just went up to the guy, and I was very kind. I was like, I'm really sorry, this and this. And I came back out of that situation, and the three of them were like, you did that very well. And what I learned from that, it was just about treating people with respect and kindness, and it's not about confrontation. Our business is not about confrontation at any time, no matter how wrong the consumer is. And I know the old adage is the customer is always right, but I guess the real saying to that is the customer is always right until they're not. Mm-hmm. And we have to remember that everybody, Rich always says, in the restaurant industry, people lie to give you money. I have a reservation when I don't, or I didn't like this, so give me something else. They're always lying to give you something. And if you take that attitude, if you look at it that how can I learn from this experience? How can I improve that moment for somebody? And that's what we do in the hospitality business. We create moments and memories. I always say that the food business that we're in, everything that happens in someone's life has food involved with it, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, right? People bring food, celebrate around food, converse around food. And that's, I think, just what I've really taken away from the last 31 years with Lettuce.
It's very awesome. It's so true. So you were in fine dining, and then for whatever reason, you decided to gamble and go to fast casual or QSR, what some people would call it. Why?
So Lettuce Entertain is an anomaly, right? We have 60-something brands, more than that over the course of the 52-year history, almost 53-year history. And I did high-end dining, I did family dining, I did casual dining, I went back to high-end dining. So I've done a lot of different things. And how wowbao? I was in between projects, and a former partner in another concept came to me and said, there's this opportunity to do wowbao, we need someone to run it, I think you should do it. And I went sight unseen. I'd never had a bow, I'd never been to the concept, I'd never looked at the financials. And I asked Rich and Kevin, Rich Melman, the founder, Kevin Brown, the CEO, if I could take over wowbao. And Rich actually told me yes, but I wouldn't do it if I were you. And it's interesting, in hindsight, it was the best decision I made in hindsight, right? Like the trajectory we're on, the opportunities we've had, the growth we've had, total right decision. But I never paused to say, why is the founder of the company telling me no, or that I should reconsider it? And there were ups and downs in my earlier years with wowbao, and I second-guessed myself, and lettuce started opening some pretty fantastic, award-winning, high-growth, high-volume restaurants. And I always wondered, would I have been part of that? Is that where Rich saw me going? But in the long run, it was the right decision. And sorry, one last thing I just want to add to that. I don't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. But I think the lessons you learn in fine dining, the lessons you learn in higher end, you can bring those to QSR and fast casual. And the really good brands bring elements to that. If you look at Chick-fil-A and what they do from a service standpoint, that service standpoint is the gold standard, but that is not fast casual or QSR service. Somebody brought that idea to it. And if you look at wowbao over its time, I think there's been moments of service points where we've identified to set us apart from other concepts based on the learnings we've had from these higher end dining.
So you know that I've idolized Mr. Millman forever, my entire career in the industry. He's been the bigger icon than I could possibly imagine, because he's the creation of so many different brands and so many different ideas and all that have come through that organization is something that obviously I like because I'm designing brands nonstop. But it always amazes me that, as you said, so many people don't know that there's so much more than fine dining. And you took that gamble and went down a different path and have been successful, but now you're taking a completely different path into CPG and that avenue. How and what made you decide to go that route instead of just growing the restaurant business?
It's a really good question. And I think it's, we say in our industry there's plan and there's luck. And we've had a lot of luck. What happened with the brand was, so in 2017, Valor Equity Partners, private equity, got involved to help scale our growth. And that was a huge, huge both opportunity and personal accomplishment for myself. I had been involved in other concepts for lettuce that had gotten sold off or acquired and hadn't been part of the win. So this was a mission of mine to say I can do it too. And we started going at a very fast rate, experimenting with opening stores and growth and new things to do. And by luck, we had an idea to start selling our food to other restaurants out their back door, third-party delivery, and that was in fall of 2019. So we had 3 or 4 months to really build out that program and to plan and do it right. And then, as we know, COVID happened, and we just catapulted. We had hockey stick growth that was unheard of. And when you do this stuff, what I learned, I always been told from Kevin Brown, the CEO of Lettuce, for years and years, I need to create a team and have a team of people. And that was always something I never had because my job was sort of a SWAT team. I was a one-man SWAT team that went into one concept for 18 months, got it going, got it rolling, fixed whatever the issue was, and then they sent me off to the next brand. And when you go from brand to brand, the teams don't follow you. So I never had a team, even though he was telling me I needed a team. So once we had this opportunity with Valor, I was able to create a team and start surrounding myself with very smart people and very motivated. And once we got the dark kitchen up to a certain level, somebody was put in charge of that, which freed me up. And through those relationships with the dark kitchens, we were introduced to Walmart, somebody at Walmart who got us in touch with somebody else at Walmart. And then as the growth of our team came on, and I had very good people there, connected them to Walmart. And that just got our CPG opportunity to fly off the shelves, literally. And now I have a group of people on the wowbao team who head up CPG. So now I have somebody who does our stores, I have somebody who does our non-traditional, I have somebody who does our virtual, I have somebody who does our CPG, and so now my role is two things. One, it's to poke holes and push, and the other role is what's next. And so now that I've helped build these other verticals for us to grow, and now I'm working on what's next.
I'm Gregg Majewski, and I've been a multi-unit operator for 26 years. I know how great it feels owning the right franchise brand, but choosing the right franchisor feels even better. At Craveworthy Brands, our hospitality-driven culture sets us apart because we're invested in your success at every single stage of your journey. We're operators alongside you, paving the way forward to give you a head start on greatness. Start your franchise journey at craveworthybrands.com. So, sort of funny because yesterday I was in your office and your team continued to tell me that you don't do anything. And then I walked back into your office and walked back to my little spot that I was hanging out. Here's Geoff sitting back in this big old leather chair, reading something and all comfy. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to take a nap.
I think I did take a nap. I was very fortunate that the people leave me alone and let me take a nap.
But your team has gotten to the point where they're exceptional, and you've done that, and they built in, and they believe in what you're created, and they've been able to follow you and understand where you want to go with each aspect, and now they're doing it. That's got to be the biggest success that you've had, because now your team is able to perform without you micromanaging them every day.
Yeah, and look, I think it started out with I put us on a path and got the troops to go down the path. Now as you continue to grow, that path has many lefts and rights you can turn on. And I let the team choose the left or right, but I help them make that decision, and I keep them on the course. There's always going to be a shiny object. Should we grab the shiny object? Should we follow the shiny object? And my job is to help them determine if that shiny object is worth going after, or if we should bypass that one. So look, I've always been a hands-on operator. I've always been in the trenches working very long hours, and it's a completely new world for me to be surrounded by exceptionally smart people. And I'd always learned from Rich. Rich is an unbelievable genius at finding every small element that you need to make better in your restaurant, what the consumer wants to do, and so on. But he surrounds himself with very talented culinary people, incredibly smart financial people, very smart legal people, great HR. So he doesn't know everything, and he recognizes that, and he gets the right people. I'm finally at a point where I have the luxury, which not everyone has, where I can hire the right people, which allows me to do what I'm really good at, which I hope is inspiring, motivating, and educating my people to keep letting them do the great job that they have the opportunity to push us further.
So you're also passionate, and you hold things dear to your heart. And in your office, you have a table hanging on the wall. You know, that the story behind it is, it's extremely cool because it shows the growth of where you guys have been, but more importantly, that the fact that you want that to continue to be part of the story. So can you sort of walk through what that means to you and your team, and why that plays such a big part?
Yeah, you're talking about Peck's Table, P-E-K. So when Valor first acquired wowbao, or took controlling interest, we had to find an office to work out of, and Lettuce gave us a vacant area, or vacant office up at their corporate office, where there's 4 or 5 offices amongst the lobby, and they gave us a space. And we had one table. It was, it's 9 feet long, give or take, and 3 feet wide, and 5 of us lived on that table. We had no other furniture because it was a vacant office. So for like 6 or 8 weeks, while we found furniture, ordered furniture, 5 of us, the office manager, myself, a graphic designer, someone from Valor, and an operations person would come in and out, lived on this one table together. And then we fast forward, 4 months, 5 months after being in that office with real furniture, we moved to another office. Our first office on our own space, and that table became the lunch table. And this guy, Philippe El-Kazim from Valor, who's a dear friend of mine, P-E-K, Peck is his initials, when he was in the office, it became his desk. And when he was in the office, it became the lunch table. And then when we moved offices a third time, which we moved into May of 2022, into the office we're in now, that office was fully furnished, and we had no use for this table anymore. So I took it off of its legs and hung it up on the wall, and it's dedicated. It has a card that says Peck's Table, tells the story of the journey of that. But it's set there to remind us of, 5 of us started this journey on one table, and now we're in an office that holds 47 people, 3 conference rooms, 2 telephone rooms. I mean, we have a merch room or a swag office, however you want to call it. So it's been a great journey. And I really think it's great. I don't know if it's picking up on the mic, but Don't Stop Believin' is playing in the background. And for you to be asking me to tell that story while that song's going on, even though I'm not a fan of the song, it's sort of cool.
So part of what makes you so special, and I want everyone to understand and get to know, and that's why, if you've noticed, all these questions have been more about you, your heart, that every time somebody else does something in this industry, you're always the first one to say congratulations. You always go out of your way to make that moment special. And that, again, just shows the caliber of an individual you are, and that you cheer for this industry more than anybody else. Because you're not just rooting for yourself to be successful or wowbao, you want everybody to be successful. And most people, when they go and do it, it comes off as fake. You come across and you do it, and it's like completely genuine, and everyone believes it. Oh my God, I got a message from Geoff saying congratulations. You know, what does that mean, and why? What installs that in you to make sure that everybody in this industry wins?
Well, first of all, you said part of what makes me great, so I'd like to know what the other parts are. Secondly, like, my therapist charged me $220 an hour for these kind of conversations, so I don't want to get your bill for it. Look, it's a number of places. It is genuine, and I appreciate that people know that it's genuine. I think it comes from two places. Most recently, it comes from the fact that I don't think I got enough accolades during
Really, because the top 100 awards are going to be named the Geoff Alexander Award.
I appreciate that, but earlier in my career, you know, I had a lot of home runs. I had a lot of singles, doubles, but I had a lot of home runs, and I always felt that I wasn't getting the recognition for it. And it was very important for me to not let other people feel that way. So that's selfishly for it, I think. But also growing up, when I was growing up, my father passed away when I was very young, and my sister, for other reasons, wasn't in the house. So it was just my mother and I. And my mother really was my cheerleader. She was the one person I would share everything with, and really made me feel that I was successful. And I lost her in 2000, and so she never met my wife. She's never really met my daughter. My daughter was 19 months old. She never met my son, and she never saw me become a partner with Lettuce. She never saw the opportunity we had with the growth. And it's so, there's a part that's empty when you don't have that cheerleader to share with, and it's so important that other people know that they have cheerleaders. And when people are successful, they deserve to feel successful. And I think the third part of that really comes down to pre-COVID, the restaurant industry was very siloed, right? I didn't share my secret with you, and you didn't share your secret with me because I had to beat you, and I was fighting for that real estate, and I needed my restaurant to do better than yours. And then COVID happened, and nobody knew what the hell to do. And people were calling people and asking for help. And everybody responded. We all picked up the phone and said, let me tell you what I'm trying. What are you doing? Is it working for you? And I think that was really the biggest turning point for our industry, where it became, let's celebrate together to save the industry, not, oh, I'm jealous of what you're doing. I've been surrounded by too many people for jealousy, people who don't acknowledge the successes and the wins and knocking down, and it's you can't waste your time on that. There's too much for us all to celebrate, and too much for us to learn, and too much good people. And I think that's, you know, my main reason for acknowledging people, because they deserve to be acknowledged. It's exciting stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, what you've done here, I haven't seen Hayden Hall. You told me this place has been open since March. I'm embarrassed that this is my first time in the building here. This is off the charts, the opportunity that you have here, and I had no idea this even existed, and I'm embarrassed that I haven't been celebrating you more for what you have here.
Yeah, this thing's pretty badass.
Yeah.
It's pretty badass.
Does everybody know, by the way, it was your birthday yesterday? So when you comment and like this taping, you should all be saying, wow, happy birthday, Gregg. I think you turned 37.
Yeah, you've embarrassed me for a week now with that one.
Only for a week?
Only for a week.
We can keep going.
So if you have one thing for somebody who's starting in this industry,
don't do it. Find something else to do.
What would your advice be?
You know, I don't think there's one piece of advice you can give anybody, because it's never the right piece of advice. I do think the most important thing is to have fun. It's a fun industry, and the reason why you're attracted to this is because you have fun and passion. And you are going to have down days, and you're going to have high days. You gotta ebb and flow with it, but you gotta always remember to have fun. I think the other thing is, the thing that I take the most serious about my responsibility is people are counting on me, whether it's my investors, whether it's my family, or it's the employees. there is a responsibility to these people that every day I wake up with and every day I go home to bed with, that what more can I do for those people? It's not about for me, because if those people are successful, I'll reap those rewards. My job, my life, my work-life balance will all get better. But the most important thing, the two most important things, advice I would give to anybody, is you chose this industry for a reason. Don't ever forget what that reason was: passion, fun, so on. And don't ever forget the awesome responsibility. Awesome because it's great, but awesome because it's huge, that you have to those that are putting their trust in you. The responsibility is tremendous.
Very cool. All right, so wowbao, last question. Most important question. Where can people go to the grocery store and buy your bows?
You can download our app at wowbao.com or on Apple Store or Google Play, and there's a store locator that you type in your zip code and it tells you your closest location to order delivery from or to buy wowbao at your local retailer.
So extremely important. We have to sell bao off of this podcast.
That's your job.
Well,
I think you should, like...
My son goes and buys it every week now.
In every podcast you have, you should say, have you bought your wowbao this week? This podcast is brought to you by wowbao.
We're looking for a sponsor. You want that role?
I'll feed your son.
So, all right, one last question.
One more question.
Yeah, because that first one was more of I had to get it in. So you do a lot of cool things in the industry, and I've actually called you out on some of them because you take such big gambles on how you promote wowbao. Because one, you're able to, and I don't have that kind of budget, so... But you've gone out.
You have more money than anybody that I know.
You go way out of your way to take, unique routes to keep your product in the consumer's mind, especially the younger generation. Why are you focused on the digital the way you are, and where do you think that's the long-term benefit of brands to spend the time in?
There's two reasons why I think we're first to market on a lot of things. The first is there's a Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights movie, which has Will Ferrell in it. And the line I take away from that is, if you're not first, you're last. And that's sort of been my internal mantra of that line. But the other thing is...
Yes, there's no participation trophies in life.
There are no participation trophies. There seem like there are a lot of participation trophies.
Well, there are, but I never let my kid take them home.
75 people are getting awards for their top restaurants.
Yeah, we'll both probably be one of them.
Probably. Hopefully. As long as I'm a better number than you. Anyway, the other thing that I think is so important is, and it's so cliche to say.
You will be, because it's the Geoff Alexander award show.
It's so cliche to say, and I need a better word than the word cool. But what we do, we try to find things that are cool, that are front and center, that are forward thinking, that will get noticed, right? You can go out and spend a lot of money in marketing and you don't know if it works or doesn't work. Press is free. And if you take risks, if you try something before someone else does, do it smart, right? And be prepared for the headache that comes with it. Be prepared to apologize if it doesn't work. But the press that you can garner, the opportunities to come, whether it's being on your podcast or asked to speak at a conference or, respond to somebody who found you because they want to learn more about that opportunity. That's why we're forward thinking. That's why we're early adopters of trying things out, because in the thing you do not want to get caught up on in this industry is thinking about today. You hire people to think about today. You hire people to worry about today, even to worry about tomorrow. Our job as leaders is we have to be thinking 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 15 months. And if you're only thinking about today, there is no 9 months for you. And my job, again, I'm very fortunate that I have great people on the team, allows me to think forward and look out. And I read a lot. I try to stay focused a lot on what's being talked about, what's coming, where opportunities lie, so I can research that now and be early to the game.
Very, very cool. That makes sense. I got to get more confidence to do stuff like that.
That'll be $1 million.
So, Geoff, thank you for taking your time today and coming out and visiting Hayden Hall, even though it's been open since March. You finally showed up.
I'll be back on Tuesday with my team to have lunch.
But I'm very, very thankful that you came on. Thank you for being part of this episode of Room for Seconds. Remember, check out Craveworthy Kitchen at Hayden Hall. More importantly, go to Walmart, buy wowbao, stock your fridges with it. We need to get this company sales up. Let's try to get it to a couple more $1 million because Geoff is such a great guy, but actually because wowbao is an incredible product. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey viewers, thanks again for supporting Room for Seconds. If you found this episode inspiring, interesting, or any bit informative, please hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom so you never miss an episode. In my 26 years in this amazing industry, I've been blessed with incredible mentorship. This show is my way of giving back. Follow me on LinkedIn, search Gregg Majewski, on Twitter, @Gregg_Majewski. If you still have room for more, visit our website at media.craveworthybrands.com. You'll find more videos, shows, notes, blogs, resources, and an easy way to get in touch with the Craveworthy Brands team. I'm your host, Gregg Majewski. Thanks again for tuning in to Room for Seconds.